Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Soul Authentic Podcast. My name is Lynn, the host and creator of Soul Authentic, and I am so excited for this episode today because I have a beautiful guest speaker coming on, Michal Hod. And I just learned that her name means inner royalty, and truly she is royalty, you guys. I'm so excited to bring her on. And just a little bit about Michal before we get started. Michal has extensive training in and about water, such as having her bachelor's in marine biology and biotechnology. She's also a certified senior hydrotherapist, being a Watsu therapist, an aerial yoga instructor, and a leader in divine feminine embodiment and healing arts. She's currently residing in Israel, and however, when I met her, we both met in Costa Rica, and I met her while she was performing ceremonies and performing healing arts. And I've received so much magic and healing from her as well. And so I'm so excited to invite her on to speak about her journey and all the things that she's creating in this moment, in this life. Without further ado, thank you so much, Michal, for joining me here. I'm so honored to have you.
Thank you so much, Lynn. I am so honored to be in your podcast. Very excited.
Mm. For so long, I felt that people need to hear your message. You're someone that is so anchored in their passion of community work, social justice, eco-activism, all the impact that you really focus on making with your business. You're someone that walks their talk. You are
Wow.
so strong, so dedicated, and I love learning from you as well. You're just this incredible medicine woman. So just share with me, and all of the listeners, how did you begin your journey with medicine and healing arts? And, you also have this really beautiful relationship with the water and the ocean. Maybe you can speak into how that all got started.
Yes. So before I even start about that, I again want to thank you so much. I want to share with the audience and you the appreciation I have to you and you as a healer, because that haven't been said. So in our connection and our occurrences in Costa Rica, I also had experienced such an healingful sessions with Lynn, and yeah, I just highly recommended any connection with you, lady. So after that being said, yeah, so my healing journey brought me to focus on healing in my life, but it all started with water. So water always have been the passion in my life. I've been fascinated and frightened by it when I was a child. When I was 18, I went to the Navy. I became a deep sea diver. And then for the first time, it was very far away from healing, but it was just beginning of connection to the highest spirit. So the spirit talked to me through water. She taught me, you know what, if you want to live, you need to surrender to death, because every time you go down into the water, I was diving 80 meters, you know, it was deep
Yeah.
and dark. So every time you enter the water, there's something in you that needs to be released, need to surrender, totally surrender, because everything can happen. And this is when I understand that my biggest guide and teacher in this life is the ocean, is the water. And continuing my life, I started my bachelor and master degree in marine biology and biotechnology. So understanding that, I believe it is the same in every subject in life, but it's different languages that talk the same thing. So if we talk about water healing, there is a lot of magical things you can see in scientific language, and there is amazing thing you can know about it in holistic way, in some Chinese traditional wisdom and Native American wisdom. Everybody say the same. Siberian shamanism, everybody talk about the same thing. And if you break it into what the essence of it, you can see that science and traditional wisdom say the same thing, talk about the same essence of material and the potential of the spirit that in the material, such as water, but everything else also. We are 80% water, and mostly all of the things around us are contained mostly of water. So yeah, so my journey started with water, and I understood that I want to give. I For the beginning, I thought I'm gonna be a doctor, and then I understood that being a doctor doesn't always mean to go in the hallways of a hospital. It also can be meeting people's hearts and emotional system and mental system, meeting them in their lowest and their highest, and working on the alchemistry of life and how it lives within us. So I understood I want to work with water as a hydrotherapist in the beginning, also in a hospital. And then after a couple of years, I started to do Watsu, which is water shiatsu. And this was really the big revelation in my life, how water do the alchemy in our mind and in our hearts, how it can heal post trauma, PTSD, how can it heal grief, how can you work through life pains and fears and excitements and dreams and fragileness, how it's a powerful tool, which I also mainly focus in myself in the past 10 years now. Yeah, and through that I discovered a whole new world of therapy and medicine and ceremonies and traditional wisdoms from all around the world that just waiting for us to get encouraged with.
Incredible. Thank you so much for sharing all of that. And I can just listen to you talk forever because you're so immersed and so experienced and so wise. And I love the different pieces that you spoke about in terms of the dying process, like going that deep in the sea required a part of you to just let go and to surrender to that process. I think it reminds me of the Tibetan Book of Dying when, they speak about in order to fully live, you have to learn how to die. You have to accept death. And I think in our society, we are so, especially, speaking about just in the United States, we're separated from the concept of death, right? We're not really faced with, okay, well, this is what death is. And so it's really beautiful that you were initiated into that process. And that's what it sounded like. Going into the deep sea is not for everyone. So thank you so much for sharing that. And then also speaking about how science and spirituality and these different ancient traditions come together and essentially are saying the same things is incredibly important. That's such an important point that you spoke about, because I'm even learning this about Chinese medicine, that ancient Chinese medicine talks about genetics and epigenetics, but today that's that's everything that people are talking about. They're talking about neuroscience. They're talking about our DNA and what our DNA does. Ancient traditions have been talking about this for centuries. So I love that you're also speaking onto that piece too. And so, all these different pieces that led you to coming into the wisdom of who you are today, how have you been able to show up for people in your community with these tools? Because, when I met you in Costa Rica, you brought us through this powerful ceremony in the water of, this is the power of water. We can enter into the spirit of water and allow it to teach us. How have you really brought that into your community? Like, when did that all start? And how did you put the pieces together that you can actually help people in this way?
Yes, thank you for this question. So the spiritual world was always something I've been called to. I was very scared at first as a child, as a teenager. I didn't understand. I was craving for something I was scared of because I didn't know. Slowly and surely, I guess that again, the water was a big essence of my growth. a teacher for my growth spiritually, because it again taught me how to get connect to myself by allowing yourself to release. And it's again going to that place of accept death. What death? What part of you that struggles to release that death? When you actually agree to, you know what, I am surrendered to whatever it is coming to me within and from out, in order to make that transformation I'm seeking. And when you do it again and again with water, it gets to, get used to it inside too. So for the past 7 years, I can say I was really all about Asian traditions. I was fascinated by Native American traditions, wisdom. I really got fascinated by the fact that there's so much feminine, rich wisdom in that communities. And we're not going to get really deep into what happened all the way to this wisdom coming to the Western world, and the injustices that came with it along. Not only beautiful stuff happened, and we all need to acknowledge that and take responsibility of how we embrace those Asian remedies and wisdom and medicine that is not ours. It's come from different culture, and we need to respect the people who bring us this culture and this medicine and these rituals. But anyway, I was really, really fascinated about how rich the rituals of the women can be. I grew up in Israel as a Jewish girl, and I didn't. I always wanted to have some root connection to the spirit, in a way that everybody gonna accept it. But I haven't had that in Judaism in a way that I've been growing up in, because I felt there's something missing. It was very masculine energy, spiritual energy, and I was always seeking something that I can relate to. So finally, when I started reading about Native American women and the practices that happen with your blood, with your moon blood, sorry, um, the connection with the moon, the connection with our bodies, again, going to water. We are water, science and traditions, how we get affected by the moon, how everything is getting affected by the moon, because we are water. Yes. So after understanding that I have that urge to connect to ancient traditions from America, I started to look about my roots from Siberia, from Russia, and I discovered amazing information also, from feminine wisdom to the connection from the divine, the masculine and the feminine together. Started to combine my own ritual to my own healing. And this is where I understand how important it is to share it with people from the community. So it took me a while to do it, only because I had one block, and it was my self-esteem. It was where who am I to do this kind of things, And I think every healer and every person who participate in some healing art, uh, I guess if you have the dignity of, you care about what you're doing, you have that block for a second. It's taking time to release that block. And maybe it should be that way, because, in this fast world, everything you can do a yoga internship and being a teacher in 2 weeks. This is 1,000 years studying, and so quickly you can get into this
Right.
place of being a teacher. So in a world of fast spiritual food, it's
Mm,
good that we take in time. So it took me a while to understand that I can actually share what I'm doing, and helping me so much.
mm,
I guess it's all around dignity and being humbled with what you're doing, knowing it's just working for you, you're just on the path of learning.
mhm,
And I started to do circles of women in Israel, focusing about earth and fire. Later on, also doing a little bit of groups in the water, which is,
mhm,
before that I had years of private sessions, never did group sessions.
mm.
And when I arrived to Costa Rica a year ago, yeah, we celebrate a year of meeting.
Wow.
um, it was very clear for me that wherever I want to go, wherever I will go, I want to make a difference in the community, because
Mm,
especially because we are, as very privileged Western world society, traveling with our abundance to third world countries, need to understand that there is a price people pay for what we're doing. And we also give so much beauty. I'm not just, it's together, but we need to acknowledge that. And by
Mhm.
acknowledging that, we want to say, maybe we can give something back. And this is where I came with, I want to do something for the community. I want to search for eco-activism organization around. This is where I got to know the amazing coral conservation, Costa Rica, with
Mm.
beautiful Maria. And we did a beautiful session of fundraising um, for her coral anti-sedimentation project.
Mm.
Yeah. So I guess if I want to make that short, I think that one thing WOOMA is standing and I'm standing behind is whatever you're doing and you know it's good and you know it's healingful and you want to share it from your bottom of your heart, it's pure, you want to share it,
Mm.
make sure everybody get to celebrate it in some way, in your little step by step effort. Our way to do it, and it's only our way in WOMA, is to make 20%, 30% of the outcome of the event towards anything local that we're traveling. If I'm in Israel, I'm gonna donate it to some organization in Israel. If I'm in Costa Rica, wherever I go, I just want to make sure I give my share back
Mm.
to the community living.
I love that. Thank you so much. And I love how anchored you are into the accountability and the responsibility and the mindfulness of the impact that you are making on the environment and how you want to give back. I think that it's so easy to, forget and just be so immersed in our own life and our own personal what's happening for us. But when we come out of it and we're actually taking account of, well, how does this give back to the community? How can everything that I'm doing actually contribute to making this place better rather than taking away from this place? I love that. I love how passionate you were about that and still are when I met you in Costa Rica. And you spoke a little bit about WOOMA. Can you speak more about what WOOMA is and this, movement and this organization you're creating?
Yes, thank you so much. So, WOMA is actually an entity by herself that came through me a couple of years ago. She's getting a big new wave of freshness this year, exposing new arts that being in service. It all started with water. So, as a hydrotherapist and a Watsu practitioner, I just wanted to make a very clear statement of what I'm bringing to the world. And it now became way bigger than the water, but it just began in that space. Wuma is a space that stands on being a safe space. First of all, creating safe spaces for transformation, safe spaces for being vulnerable. I really believe that if there's something that can change the world, is us as people agreeing to be more vulnerable with our truth, with our pain, with our joy, with our dreams. So it's all about just creating more spaces for groups, for people, for families, to feel safe, to feel whole, to feel in their own womb. So WOMA is actually a combination of woman. This is a very, my healing, I know if I can state it, it's a very feminine healing. So it's WOMA, it's womb, and it's water. It came to my tongue and it was, okay, this is WOMA. Nowadays, WOMA is offering wide services, such as online, feminine group worldwide, full year weekly sessions talking about our relationship with our bodies, with our womb, with our mental system, emotional system, spiritual system, and how all of that get connected to our modern life, because there is a gap. Not everybody know about that. Nobody teaches about how to communicate with all these parts these days. It's like with something we need to get figured out by ourselves. So this is one of them. Also meditation online and on land, and also in water. Again, water treatments, personal and group ones, many other services. You're very welcome, guys, to check it out later. But it's very, very exciting thing to do, to just open it up in that big way. It really started so tiny. It started so, very, very carefully, just one-on-one in water. WOOMA was a home for really deep, deep transformations with people that came to my clinic in Israel. After a couple of years, I just understood it needs to be bigger. I wanted to spread wider. And I discovered really the magic of online sessions. It's just amazing. Also, it was amazing to talk to you, Lynn, because Lynn and I had such a beautiful connection together. And it was so powerful to understand that even that we're half globe apart, I still feel like my blood pulse pressed differently when we talk. So yeah, there are some beautiful stuff can happen online, not only bad affection and bad, influence. It can be very, very positive. And this is what I want to do. This is what I want to focus on,
Mhm.
doing good things on land and online.
Mm,
And yeah, thank you. I
beautiful.
hope it wasn't a long a long answer for you.
No, I mean, it was great.
Yeah.
I really feel that WOMA is expanding to be global, is what you're saying, and it's allowing more accessibility, more outreach to people all around the world. And I really feel that you hold this medicine that it's now encapsulated in WOMA, and that's going to be spread to so many people, and people need to experience that. People are looking for safe spaces to integrate and to experience and to reflect and to heal and release. And so having these safe spaces where people can come, I just feel like there's not enough, right? There needs to be more people in these healing spaces, in the healing arts. And one part that I love about WOMA is it's honoring the feminine energy within us. That's what I really feel when I just feel into WOMA, when I speak it to myself, when I feel that in my body. I just feel this, the sacred mother holding me in all parts of who I am. And I love that you incorporate the elements in that, because yes, like we are the elements, there's no separation between us and nature. And in fact, we are nature. We just forgot. And the fact that we forgot that we are nature, we also forgot how to listen to our bodies. We forgot how to listen to the earth and the environment around us. So a lot of the work that you're doing, and I've experienced myself, is bringing people back into their bodies to experience the healing. And I know also you do a lot of conscious movement, right? As well, in terms of getting people back into their bodies, doing like dances, ecstatic dances, like just like experiencing freedom within the body. And I think that's so important nowadays for people to experience that. Can you speak a little bit about the importance of ceremony that you bring into the practices that you have on WOMA, and just the practices that you're bringing to your community? Because I really feel that ritual and ceremony is becoming so much bigger nowadays. And of course, back in history and ancient traditions, there was only ceremony. Everything was a ritual, everything was sacred. There was sacred space being held for pretty much every moment. And it was making the mundane into something that was really special and magical. So, can you speak more into the power of ceremony and what that means for WOMA and the work that you're doing?
Yes. So as a scientist, I just get that everything I do, I study. Everything happened to me, I study. So all that I'm going to talk about right now is just about being really curious about our human experience. So as a human experience living this life, I really got into feeling how ritual affect my brain, how rituals affect me, slowly changing the narratives on my mind of what's safe and what not, who make me safe and who's not, what can make me feel safer in this world, what can make me feel more loved in this world. And that might be very funny for people who are a bit cynic, but it's really scientific. As a scientist, I can tell you it's really like all about Pavlovian uh, um, studying. If you do something again and again and again and you set your mind into it, your mind believe it. It's science, it's holistic, it's ancient, it's everything you want it to be, but it's the truth. So as much as there is truth as a scientist, yeah. um yes, so rituals, as you said, was everything back in the days. Everywhere you go, there was more or less beautiful. There are also rituals I'm very happy are not existing in our modern life. But I have to say, in our modern life, we almost don't have any spaces for rituals. It's like we ignoring a whole body of our experience as humans. So we have emotional body, we have mental body, we have physical body, and we also have spiritual body. It's a very tricky one. This is why in mind people won't understand what I even talk about when I say spiritual body. But where we find it, it's in their lake. You think that when there's something absent, you would feel the absence. So as a society, we can see more and more emptiness. Like we have everything, right? We have everything, but more and more people feel depression. More and more people feel scared and doesn't even know why. More and more people feel anxiety. And meds, are beautiful for some people. For some, it's just not the answer. I'm not judging. I'm just saying there is a spectrum of solutions. And as in my studies for myself, practicing and seeing the narratives in my mind, the way my anxiety, I had anxieties, I had really bad ones when I was in my early 20s. Um, the things that really helped me was also the things that my mind couldn't understand. It's why is it when I'm going to the water and meditate underwater is that I feel quiet? Why is it when I'm going to a sweat lodge is where I get that answers I need and everything get quieted? So rituals have that effect. It's like Asian people knew how to work it out to make the settings in order our nervous system to calm down. So also psychologically, as I said before, you do something a couple of times, you set intentions, you say statements. It's also rituals, but also just putting your physical body in some adjustments of lighting, of what water do you drink, of what music do you hear, if you're close to earth, if you're barefoot, if you're close to fire. Rituals are very, very important to our well-being. I'm very happy nowadays. There's more ceremonies. There's more awareness of the fact that the spiritual body needs food and nourishment just as all the other bodies that we as a modern society already accept that there is. We know there is a mental body, we go to shrinks. We know there's a physical body because here we are. We know there's emotional body because we feel. And more we get to know, yeah, there is a spiritual body, we need to nourish it. Not nourishing it have a price. um, I have to say that there is also something we need to think about. Again, it's about cultural, um, I'm trying to find the right words, but when we talk about taking ceremonies and rituals from other cultures, um, always it's very important to get recognition for who gave you those beautiful wisdom rituals, especially if it's a depressed society that got into so many pain and abuse by people from your nation, or as a just us as one nation, as a modern society, let's
Mhm.
say, Europe states and all the other areas that are more developed. We have privileged, and there's a reason for it, and we need to really respect and be careful when we use. It's beautiful that we use. Everybody going to benefit from the fact that everybody going to meditate more, do more rituals, we're going to be better people. It's for their own good too. but it's very important to respect where you get your rituals from and to give back. This again, going to community and give back. If you use some medicine, make sure the people who planted the medicine, who watered the medicine, get their own share from it, you know. If you take some songs, make sure the people that brought you that song get that recognition and appreciation. If it's material appreciation or verbal appreciation, it's karma and it's important. And I feel like there's not enough appreciation to the people who brought us all this wisdom. So I just had to point that out. But yeah, rituals are important.
Wow, so amazing. Thank you so much for sharing and bringing awareness to that, the appreciation and the honoring of where all of these ceremonies and these rituals come from. You know, these come from many ancient traditions, and you spoke it so beautifully that we must take account of where these things come from, who created them, what happened between here and now for that ceremony or tradition or practice to come through. There's the good and the bad in that. So thank you so much. And I have a question for you in terms of, like, if someone is listening to you speak about your journey and they're saying, I have such a strong connection with spirit and with the land and these different elements, but I don't know how to start. I don't know where to start. I don't know what to do or who to go to. What would you tell them? What would you recommend as a first practice, or, a resource that they can use to start tuning in or honing in on something that they can create?
That's a
What would you
beautiful
share?
question. I would say that first of all, it's a combination, because it's always going to be your own authentic way of connection to water. I would just say, first of all, know that you know the best. You really know the best. What is your connection to whatever material exists in the world? If it's water, if it's the element of the water, I really encourage people to find their own connection. What does it mean? Just sit with water. Just sitting by the ocean gives you so much information, so much wisdom, and guidance. Just listen, and it will tell you a lot. So this would be the first thing. Second, if somebody feel passion about water, about therapy with water, I would highly recommend to study, to go and be studying professionally. Hydrotherapy is a beautiful, beautiful, amazing therapy available. I wish there were more people doing that, because it is magical. I could see in the hospital people not walking, going back to walking in the hot water. This is really a beautiful thing. Yeah, so hydrotherapy and water shiatsu. There is a beautiful teachers all around the states, beautiful teachers in Israel. You can come here too, and Costa Rica whenever I'm there. Yeah, I would say it's always parallel. Never forget the importance of inner knowing, because it is important to go and study professionally. I really appreciate people who take that seriously, and there is a point for going and making it professional. But at the same time, don't forget, you the only one who knows. I have a song about that. You're the only one who knows your connection and what the meaning, the essence of your healing and your connection to water, and deepen that knowing, making sense of it, and then spread it. This is the thing. Yes.
Hmm. Yeah, thank you so much. I agree with you that the inner knowing is what's going to be the anchor for so many things that happen in our life. And you're such an amazing example of that. You just hold this strong inner knowing, this like crystal clarity of your vision, what you want to create, the values that you have. And so hearing your story and what you've gone through and the practices and just your essence is really important for people to hear, because there's so much information out there. There's so many people talking and sharing their magic and putting things out there, good and bad. And for someone to say your inner guidance is your truth, is the most important thing, is so key, right? Because there'd be so many people out there, you know, pulling you in so many different directions. It's important to understand and hone in. And I think, you know, when I was in Costa Rica, me and you had a conversation, we spoke about discernment and that power of discernment. And I believe that this is a really big part of the feminine energy, is not only being the unconditional mother and accepting and allowing the forgiveness to happen and the healing to happen, but there's another side of the mother that's strong and fierce and holds more of the masculine energy. And she's extremely discerning as well. What is your experience and anchoring into like your strength and your masculine energy while being in your feminine as well? You know, can you share a little bit about your experience with both of those energies and like navigating that?
It's such a beautiful subject.
Mhm.
Yes, and it's also a fascinating one. I'm still studying. I think all my life I'm going to study this dance between the feminine and the masculine. Um, I think there a bit of confusion in our modern society of what is feminine and what is masculine. Because as you dive into Asian traditions, you can see that feminine is not as gentle, as soft, always, like holding. It can be very powerful, unapologetic, powerful, very clear mind, power going through you. Femininity existing within men, femininity existing within women. Um, I would say that I'm still studying, as I said, what is femininity for me and what is masculinity for me. As I grow spiritually, I can say that they both live more peacefully with each other. But yes, I think one of the most important things I try to bring out there for the women coming to the circles I'm creating is that reclaiming our power as women is very important and very essential and very natural. And it's coming so instantly once we practice it. It can be so beautiful to observe. You know how people come. When we start, the women come and they're very shy, and in the end, there's something like forza. There's some power that just live in the energy. You can see in the aura. I'm here. I just waited my whole life somebody to give me that permission to be in my power. We're really scared not to be acknowledged and beautiful, as attractive, as smart, as being okay, being approved. But it's very funny because as I got deep into my femininity in that way, I got more appreciated, outside, which is not that important, but it was very beautiful to see. um, I really do believe that the healing that men seeking these days coming from the fact that we choose to heal our wounds and to stand in our power. And this is why I feel it's very, very important for women to wake to their power. No, nobody needs to save them. No, we are our own savers. No, we have all the tools out there to study. How does that work? I can manage that. I can do that. I can work with that in a way. I'm a vessel for peace. I'm a vessel for truth that lifting me and others. And yeah, this is all about WOOMA. Yeah, I can say that inner feminine energy wants to spread their medicine out there and remind you also have that thing in you, whether you man or woman. I'm talking especially for women, but not only. It's really important to remember, and I think real medicine that's been spread out there is the one that reminds you that the healer that is in front of you, if it's your teacher, if it's a Zen master, if it's whatever it is, if it's me or other person, they're just a vessel of remediation, just to remind you who you are, because all of us, we have so much power within us. We have infinite power to heal, to celebrate, and to be a light to ourselves and to others. And we sometimes just need some person to look at our eyes and say, hey, you, do you remember you an infinite light there, right there? You know what you're doing. Just believe in yourself. Forgive yourself for the pain that you carry, and aligned with what already you know within. We all have that. We all have that. I do believe that. And this is our mission, to spread that knowing. And it's not about me, and it's not about any other teacher or facilitator or therapist or a healer. A real good one will always tell you it's not about them. It's about what they remind you have inside of you all that time. And this is the work.
Wow. You said it so beautifully, so gracefully, so powerfully. And I just want to thank you so much for speaking your truth and speaking the truth. I want to just open up the space. If there's anything you want to share, anything, any last kind of words you want to share with the community and just about you and your work that you're doing, I want to give you that space.
Thank you. I first just want to really give thanks for the opportunity to share the medicine and the journey that I'm in, and the studying I did until now and I'm future to do. And for you, Lynn, such a beautiful opportunity to say thank you for your love and for your heart and for your mind and the connection of all of them. The dance that you are, with all the parts that you are inspiring. So much beauty flow from you to all those people who listen to us. And this is a medicine, and you are such a good and beautiful example of how you can spread online that medicine of being remindful, who we are. Yeah, I know who I am.
Mm.
If there one thing I would want to say to the audience is that, yeah, it's all beginning in our self. It all begins with, remember who you are. And sometimes it's not even clear. It's okay, just keep on going. Make sure that you find some simple rituals to go through the day that will remind you once or twice a day your light and your love. And you can laugh at it, you can ignore it, but it will still be there. You are in your source. Beautiful light came to shine. um yes, WOOMA's work these days are very exciting. We're gonna be half of the year in Israel and half of the year in Costa Rica. In 25th of October, there is a beautiful women event in Israel going to be in Pardes Khana City. It's gonna be in a beautiful warm pool. It's gonna called Woman Lab, and we're gonna just go dive into what is womb, and we're gonna practice it in a warm pool, which represent womb and us getting nurtured in it, and how we can nurture others with our essence as womb, man, woman. In the 30th of October, we open up an annual weekly session online program for women all around the world, going every week into embody all that we already know, the rituals, the essence of connection between the mind, the heart, the body, the spiritual body. And we're gonna make some studies about that. And beautiful also community project would be a really beautiful challenge. And yeah, later on, Costa Rica, other events. I'm gonna talk soon in my social media. So yeah, this is what happens these days. You should really, really check out the website. We put a lot of love and energy in it. I hope you're gonna find some beautiful inspiration and healing in it. And yeah, thank you so much, Lynn. I'm so grateful, so
Oh,
honored.
I love you so much and thank you for coming on. Can you share with how people can reach out to you, like what the website's called and how to reach out to you on social media?
Yes. So It's very simple. The website is wooma.online. Wooma is WOOMA.online. And also in Instagram, there's wooma.official. I'm there. You can find me. You can DM me whatever you want. I'm very open to questions and advices. And yeah, I'm here. Talk to me.
Thank you so much, Michal. You are an incredible being and such a light. Thank you. I have one last question for you before we wrap up today. And this is a question that I ask everyone. What does it mean to be soul authentic? What does it mean to be your authentic
Oh, yes. I love that question. I looked at it before, I had some questions to practice
Yeah.
before. And I saw that one and I was like, wow, what is soul authentic? What is the meaning of being soul authentic? And it's kind of funny because being soul authentic means being everything, not always aligned with the soul core. Being soul authentic means being okay with being all the spectrum that you are as a student of life, not knowing, forgetting, hating, remembering, and then again forgetting. So being so authentic is being committed to being real with your growth, with who you are, with what you've been, with what you're going to be, and the cycles. It's never that way. It's always like that, going all the way up.
Wow.
So yeah, being so authentic is being real with your growth. And thank you for reminding people every time you do that podcast what
Mm,
is authentic.
beautiful. Thank you so much. That was so spot on with, I feel like, the feminine energy and her cyclical nature. So thank you so much for your wisdom, your compassion, your understanding, and just who you are, Michal. So honored to have you. Thank you, everyone that joined us today. We will tune in with you on the next episode.
Thank
Ciao.
you.